Thank you. And then with your permission, we will share it later, either with one another or if you're comfortable with, I can put it on YouTube. So welcome, Jasmine and Byron. We're so good to see you again.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We brought our cuppa.
You got your cuppa? Good girl. I got my cuppa and my water. You know, I got into the habit of having that water the first thing in the morning, and I only start really doing that this year because I realized the toxicity of me putting in that coffee right away, you know? Oh, there's Bruce. Oh, Bruce, I invited, you two, Byron and Bruce, I'm hoping you two are going to hit it off. Hi, Bruce.
Hey, Bruce.
Morning, Bruce.
So here's what I'd like to do first, if I have your permission, if everybody is comfortable with it. I'm going to go up to Susan first on the screen, and I'm going to get you all to introduce yourself very quickly. What your passion is. I don't want to ask, what do you do? It's what is your creative self? What is your passion? And if there's anything else that you want to add in. And Amanda, I notice that you're going up to your throat, honey, and do not be afraid to speak your truth. This is a safe environment. I promise you that. And if you want to pass, you're more than welcome to. But as I said to Byron and Jasmine yesterday, I will take you to the cliff. By golly, I'll throw you over, but I'll be there to catch you too. So no worries. So Susan, my love, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so hi everybody, I'm Susan. I'm the other half of Bruce at the Living Science Wellness Center. So I say I'm the living and he's the science. And my passion is higher vibrational health and wellness experiences. And I love theme parties and feeding people. So that's my shtick.
Theme parties. Woo, I want to go down that road with you.
What time should we be there?
Yeah, that's super. Thank you, Susan. Janet, do you want to unmute, my love, and tell us a little bit about yourself? And if you can explain to the group the experience, if it's okay to share, because again, I keep telling everybody, you're such an inspiration. You need to unmute, lovey. There.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Janet Vandenheuvel, and my creative passion is painting. And I had a stroke in December, totally out of the blue. And that was the day I thought, I'm going to die. And I was coming up my stairs and I knew what was happening. And all the things that I had not done, and it would have seemed silly if I told you what they were, but there were things I'd put off and not done or whatever. I no longer think that we have time. I don't have time to waste. So anything that I'm wanting to do or that I have thought about, I'm jumping on it. So I wanted to open an art gallery, but I was flooded with fear of, am I good enough? Who's going to come? What will they think? If neighbor's going to talk, I'm in a new community. Why am I doing that? I don't care anymore. So I'm jumping on it. My gallery opens in July, so we'll see how that goes. But as far as the stroke goes, I realized second day in, when I was in the hospital bed and I was there for 35 days in a wheelchair, that it was up to me. It was up to me to come back, and it was up to me to get my life back. And that kind of became my motto, was I was getting my life back. When the doctor came in and I said to him, so like, why did this happen? What am I going to look like when I leave? He wasn't very nice. And he said, strokes happen to anybody, any ages. You could have been a marathon runner. And he said, you might leave here today looking exactly like you look today, which I was in a wheelchair and could not even go to the bathroom by myself. So I swore a little bit under my breath and I thought, get out of my way. And then I thought, Janet, you have got to pull out all the stops and move this forward, because I knew if I was going to get my life back, it was up to me. And I think the lesson for me was that whatever I want to do in my life, it's up to me. And I've got to create the next chapter, and I don't know how long it's going to be. We all don't know how long it's going to be, but I got to grab onto it, push the fear aside, and just do it. Just do it. And if it doesn't happen or it doesn't go well, who cares? You know, at the end of the day, I did it and I had the experience. I think I also had a revelation that why I'm here is to love and to be loved. And I think it doesn't matter what you have or what you're doing or what your profession is or your sport or whatever. I think it's just to be loved and to reciprocate that love. And that's all I kind of know, but that's where I'm at today. Nice to meet everybody.
Good for you.
Janet, we're so happy to have you here. I have to tell you how I met Janet. At the time, I had a business called White Lily. And it's 4 p.m, I think, and I need to close early and go to the post office. And this beautiful blonde woman is knocking on the door. I came all the way from Ottawa. Please let me. So I said, sure, come on in. I'll lock you in while I go do my chores. Now, this is a stranger, right? Well, she ended up becoming such a good friend. Her and her husband came to Bali with us a few years ago. And when I say she's an inspiration, I'm not kidding you. And Janet, one of the things I want to look forward to is having you come to Newfoundland with us next year and do the same dance that you did for us in Bali.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Rondi, my love, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, let me see. I'm a woman whose quest today is to age gracefully with love and compassion and kindness in my heart. And my motto is to be the best that I can be, to help others be the best that they can be. And that's where my purpose is to help others where I see that they can use my services, whatever they may be, but with a loving heart.
Thank you, Rondi. You know, it's interesting because I found Jasmine and Byron synchronistically, the same way as I met Janet. And it's the same story with Rondi. I would not be giving angel, when I started doing angel workshops and got deeper into this work, it was Rondi Brown that led me there. And it was a coincidence. It was synchronistic. It's, you know, it's out of our hands when that happens. You know that the Venuses are coming together at that time or whatever is happening. So synchronistically, pay attention to every moment of every day when something comes in and you think, I don't want to pay attention to that. Pay attention because it will lead you somewhere else.
It's magical too.
Yes. Well, you're pure magic, my love. Thanks, Rondi. Kelly.
Hi.
Tell us about yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name's Kelly. I'm retired. My husband and I retired last year. Whole new world, by the way. And one of my passions that I discovered only in my 50s is that I love cooking and baking. And I too love feeding people and, enjoying that. And I also enjoy working with my husband. He does odd jobs and I do enjoy working with him. So yeah, I'm excited about this new journey in my life of retirement. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, Kelly. You live in Ottawa, do you? I live just outside of Ottawa. I live in Castleman. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Great.
I'm a half an hour out of Ottawa.
Yes. I know the Castleman area when I used to be a sales rep. I love the word when people say I'm retired, we shift it to I'm refired, right? Instead of retired, I'm refired up. And we do feel, and that's what I feel. That's what I'm hearing in you today and seeing. In
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Kelly. Karen, so happy to have you with us today. Can you tell the group a little bit about yourself, love?
Let's see. Am I muted or unmuted? All right. Unmuted now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Nice to have seen the little Facebook Live note about the gathering trying to pop on. I won't be able to stay for 2 hours, maybe till 10. In my refired life, I have a very busy day today, but thought I'd pop in. And interestingly, one of my favorite colleagues and dear friends that I retired from that job is named Amanda and lives in St. John's. And we were there visiting her 2 years ago. That was lovely. Anyway, what I'm passionate about these days is I'm having just so much fun in my refired, next sort of career and lifestyle that I'm not getting up and working every day for the federal government. That I'm having a lot of fun listening to the responses to, okay, what now, what next? And having so much creative fun. I took up chainsaw carving, so I have like several whimsical creatures and bears and dragons and toadstools and fairy houses around my property that were once stumps, and more to come. And just recently, I have a treatment room set up here at home. I just retired last spring from previous career. But of course, right as things are locked down and you can't have clients in, but I'm continuing to pour love into that room and looking forward to inviting people in for Reiki and Unity Field healing and aroma touch massage or coaching or whatever. But the most recent thing that I got all fired up about was repurposing an old and dear quilt that somebody made me when I was a youngster for my treatment table in the treatment room. And I've been busy making appliques that I'm gonna
Wow.
Nice.
all the chakra colors with silver piping sewn onto them.
That's
So
awesome.
I've been learning how to do appliques, and we'll be learning to quilt just for that one project, and root chakra. Anyway, so that's fun. And I also love making music and singing harmony and being creative musically and vocally with people. I'm very grateful to have a group of women that we make some just lovely, uplifting, harmonizing music together. So that really feeds my soul too.
Yeah, I remember when we did the 2 Power Up Your Lives with Mona Lisa Schultz, and then with Andrew Harvey, you were very involved with that, us, and especially with the music. And I miss that. I really, and I miss you. And then when I hear your voice, I realize how much I miss you. There's a woman that I know. Do you know Brenda Mason by any chance? I need to introduce. Do you? You and Brenda have similar archetypes. So you'd be great to hang out together. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that, Karen. So Amanda, what's that?
From Stouffville, you mean? Brenda Masson from Stouffville?
No, she's in Ottawa. She's very involved with the Unity Church. I'll introduce you sometime. She'll come to visit me, I think, next week. Maybe we'll just say, come on, let's just get together. Because you have the same energies. Yeah, great. Okay, the reason this is important, and I hope you can bear with us, is this is a community. We are breaking bread together this morning. So before Jasmine and Byron come on, it's just really good to click in, to hook in with one another, because we all have the same 4 patterns of behavior, but it's always good to find out what your passion is, what other archetypes that you're working with. So Amanda, who are you, darling? I only tell us about yourself.
I am from Newfoundland. My husband and I moved back home almost 3 years ago. And since we've been home, we've been walking the beaches, walking the mountains, walking the forest. We forage, but not in the same way that Byron and Jasmine do. We look for unique things on the beaches and on our trails, and we've started crafting, actually. We find a lot of peace and tranquility in doing those things. So other than that, we're really looking forward to getting together. Hi, Byron. It's nice to finally see your face and meet you. We're hoping to get together with Jasmine and Byron to learn some of their foraging expertise.
We're going on a medicine walk.
Oh, yay. Can't wait.
I'll look forward to meeting you also and put my arms around you next year,
Yes.
Amanda.
Oh, that would be awesome.
The party. We'll have quite the party.
Yeah, for sure.
So thank you for joining us and for speaking out. Woo-hoo. Okay, Bruce, can you unmute, my darling, and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Bruce, and I'm late. Sorry, I apologize for that. I figured I was just going to show up at 9:30 or something and tune in when Byron and Jasmine were supposed to show up, but everyone's in early. So my passion, well, my lovely wife is on the phone, on the call. So she said she's the living and I'm the science. I mean, our passion, and my passion really has been the alternative health space, which we've done for over 20 years. And our new path really, I mean, we're doing a new space, and we're into energy medicine a lot more. And, in addition to nutrition, holistic health. So we do a blend, and that's really my passion. I mean, I read all the time and study all the time. And we kind of chuckle because I think we don't have any children except our dog, who I was walking. I'll blame him for being late. And, so even after a long day, I'll go and read another hour or two of alternative health in this journal and that journal. So I think I probably have like 50 years worth of time, even though I'm just 50. So we really, I love it. So it's really not a big problem for me to just sit down and bear down. I could read, for 8 hours a day and do stuff until, the honey-do list pops up, and, you have to do some chores too.
Thank you. Thank you. I had a wonderful appointment for the, and I'm not clipping anyone, but my goodness, the work that Bruce and I have been doing together, trying to get my body back in organized chaos has been very, very helpful. So without further ado, now when you're talking, I am listening. And if I get distracted and I look over here, I cannot believe the amount of people this morning that are texting me. They're so sorry they can't join us, especially this morning with Jasmine and Byron here. So Jasmine and Byron, again, synchronistically, I found you. And to find out we have so much in common just melted my heart and fired up my brain again. So can you tell us, rather than I, all about yourselves, who you are, why you got into what you do, and then we'll go with our questions and answers. So again, this is all very organic in nature. So it's you.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Beautiful to meet everybody. Beautiful souls.
Yes.
Wow, just nice to our heart. See the people on the same page and looking to live the same life that we are living. We're both originally from Newfoundland, from the West Coast. Born and raised here. I had a healthcare facility for 25 years. So I've done thousands of programs, meal plans, been into health and nutrition my entire life. Been a competitive bodybuilder for 28 years. What I've come to realize over the years of looking at health and nutrition and macronutrients, micronutrients, protein, carbs, and fats, and minerals and vitamins, all comes secondary to basically your conscious and your microbiome. So it kind of made that transition probably about 5 years ago from the health and fitness field to more of a natural, holistic way. More grounding, live water, and basing most of our nutrition on our microbiome instead of proteins or carbs or fats, micronutrients, and kind of transformed our life to a different state of consciousness by moving into that realm. So that's where we're to now, and our mission is basically to help people understand the benefits of grounding ourselves to our Mother Earth for our frequency. So not wearing shoes, actually literally grounding yourself. Live water, and we're out every day basically just searching for medicines to help improve our health, our spatial awareness, and our consciousness, and help bring that to the world. So
I just have a quick question, a couple questions come to mind, Byron, and then I would like for Jasmine to add. For some reason in me today, the microbiome, I'm not 100% familiar with what that is. Can you explain to us what that is?
absolutely. So your microbiome is basically the bacteria. We all have good bacteria, bad bacteria. So the key to life is basically having a balance of both. It's what controls your immune system. A lot of people don't realize we have as many microbes as we do cells. It's living. And it comes from Mother Earth. So every time somebody goes, if you have a product that has antibiotics in it, that antibiotics in that food is actually destroying your microbiome.
That's all the good gut bacteria.
So what we've come to find out by our own endeavors is that when that happens, when I eat food that has antibiotics in it, I lose consciousness. I lose connection. My spatial awareness diminishes. I've done it several times because we eat mostly probably 95% organic. What we don't grow ourselves on our little homestead, we forage. So I would predict probably in the next 10 to 15 years, people looking at nutrition from a macro and a micro component of your protein, carbs, your fats, and minerals and vitamins is going to switch more to the microbiome and the importance of that it plays in helping your body to have the nutrition and to bring it to the cells where it needs to be. So that's basically what your microbiome is.
I love how you describe, and I'm sure Bruce and Susan and a few others can relate to this, but I had not thought about it in that language. When I take antibiotics, I lose consciousness. That's powerful. That is powerful.
It really is. And I've tried to tell people for my entire life, and most people just thought I was crazy, to be honest with you. And now science has proven it. So anything that we speak about now is already proven true science. We always knew in our heart. Yeah. And for me, consciousness is directly directed to your gut health and grounding. These things are so important. And people don't look at mental health from a food aspect, that's what we're trying to change. So your mental health depends directly on your gut bacteria.
Yeah, that's why I was wanting Bruce in here today, because I know that that's his belief also. And I just knew that, I know and maybe I'm just over the top speaking like this, but for women, we have a tendency to talk about this a lot, but I don't see a lot of men, like talking to each other about it and then holding that space. The other question I have for you, you brought up water. Now, Lynn Mayer is with us and Janet, they've been to Bali with me. And one of the things we work with, and I mentioned it to you yesterday, I think, Byron, we were talking, we work with a healer there by the name of Mankuk Madej. And he feeds us a bitter leaf every morning when we're there, but water. And his water he gets a pH level. He does it at a pH level of, I think if you're really sick, it should be at between 10 and 11. Normal pH should be between 7 and 9, I think. Is that correct? You'd know more than I would, and Bruce would know. What is the proper, when you mention water, are you doing anything to get the pH up, or are you drinking well water? What is that?
We actually drink live spring water every day. So we actually have the benefit of going to a spring here, naturally occurring, and getting live water every day.
Okay.
So, and we actually, for pH, we actually have pH strips, very inexpensive.
Right.
You get them at your store probably for about $10 a pack. And a lot of people don't realize you basically cannot get sick unless your pH is off. When your body's in balance, sickness cannot come into your body. So if people just kept this little pack in the back of their toilet and once a week check their pH, as far as being proactive on your health, this would pretty much take care of everything. The monitor that.
Yeah, it's something that we take for granted, and I can only speak for myself. When I opened up for an author, you'd love that book also, Robert Wright, and he wrote a book called Killing Cancer, Not People. And there was two things that he really, really hits home with. That is that the pH in the water is it can be life-threatening if it's not at its proper pH. And the other thing is, he says, white sugar is the Black Death. And those are the two things that are basically killing people. And we take it we go to the cupboard, we go into the store, we're eating processed foods. When people say to me, Lily, I need to process that, I'll say, don't sit on it very long, because you'll be like the grocery stores. Processed foods go crackers, they go dry. So you'll dry yourself out. Act now. And I think the best way for us to act now is be aware of that pH level of the water and really cut the sugar out.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
So Jasmine, can you tell us a little bit about what you do? One of the things, and I remember when I saw it, I was so excited. I want to know what sugar dulse is. I want to know how you make your dandelion. And that's another thing that I wanted to mention with Madej in Bali. When I said to him, so you guys are you're feeding us this, I want to say weed, but it's not, it is a weed that grows like our dandelions. Their bitter leaf grows like that in Bali. And that's what helps heal cancer. And I remember him saying to me, well, Ibu, what's your weed in Canada? And it's our yellow dandelions. And he said, that will help heal cancer. So can you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Well, I only really discovered the dandelions about a month ago.
Okay.
Yeah, the properties are amazing. It's high in vitamin A, C, D, E, B complex, iron, potassium, and calcium. Anti-cancer properties, cancer-fighting properties. It helps regulate your blood sugar, your blood pressure, helps aid in weight loss, tones your body as a whole, aids in digestion. It's a mild laxative depending on how you use it. I think the root is more of a mild laxative than, say, the petals or the stalks or the leaves, but the whole plant is edible. And it seems like the more invasive a weed species is, the better it is for your health. So we're not supposed to get rid of it because we're supposed to be enjoying it, right? So we've got Dandelion Coffee that we enjoy. I try not to take it every day because I don't want my body to be reliant on that to be regular, you know what I mean? Because it is a mild laxative. But so we dig up our root and then we chop it, put it in the oven for about 2 hours on like 250 to 300. So all the moisture comes out and then it starts to roast and you get this beautiful, nice, rich, deep smell. And you want it so that it's a bit dark but not burnt. And then you take it and you put it in a coffee grinder. And we use a French press, but you could use a tea bag or you could just powder it and put it in your coffee that way. But finding a little bit of honey really helps with the bitterness. And the bitterness actually is very good for your helps secretion of your bile duct. And historically, they used to use dandelions for liver treatments. So it's super good for your liver also. So we've been kind of trying to experiment a lot with like dandelion jellies. So made one with organic sugar, but we wanted people who are diabetic to be able to enjoy the benefits and medicines that the dandelion have in it also. So we just tried making one with stevia and it's delicious. So we're doing whatever we can find. Really,
everything is multi-purpose. Yeah,
everything is multi-purpose. I love, so the dandelions that we think, oh my God, my lawn's a mess, is really, it's such a gift. It's such a blessing. Pick them up, put them in the oven. I love it. It's a
medicine's all around us. It's funny, you know, we grow a garden every year, whatever, but it's kind of ironic how we'll clear land for a garden. We're basically clearing out all the medicines that are already there and putting in most times genetically modified foods that's been created over time. How ironic is that, eh?
So is anybody else here doing the dandelion tea?
I made the coffee.
Did you? Wow. So you're doing it. So how are you doing it in the coffee?
Me?
Yeah. How do you make coffee out of it? Similar to what you just mentioned, but putting
the dandelion root, when it's roasted, it's called dandelion coffee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's caffeine free, but it does help. Actually, we switched from coffee to dandelion coffee. We try not to drink coffee at all.
No going back, no.
So can you tell us about this sugar dulse?
Actually, the seaweed's kind of, the dandelions is Jasmine's kind of forte, and the seaweed is kind of mine. We kind of pick our own things, where we kind of dive into it.
Yeah.
The sugar kelp is, well, it's a sea vegetable. Antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, 10 times the amount of calcium than milk.
Wow.
Iodine, of course, everybody knows iodine is important for your mental health, production of T3, T4, thyroid disease, minerals, vitamins, B vitamins, for your electrolyte balance, potassium, sodium. It's just, honestly, everything has everything. Antiviral, antibacterial. It's
stabilize blood sugar.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Go on all day just about one of these things, to be honest with you.
So we've harvested the red dulse, which is this here.
Yeah, yeah. I eat that like potato chips when I
Do
can
you?
find it. It's hard to find though.
We use it as a bacon substitute. We put it on our wraps and so on and so forth. When you fry it up, it tastes very much like bacon.
So you're just going down to the shore, picking that up, and then
Yeah.
drying it out.
Yeah.
Grocery
But
store
you're making me want to go home again. Oh,
Come on.
that's going to be my new line. My new
It's nice.
landline.
It's nice to know that everything is provided for us from our mother. We've just lost that connection to Mother Earth. She provides everything we need. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to explore, expand our knowledge of all the medicines out there, and share it with everybody. And it's such a sense of peace knowing that you're looked after. Your mother is there to look after you. We just have to regain that knowledge to go back to her and ground by her and let her provide for us.
Brilliant.
It's
Just
funny,
brilliant.
we get ourselves so worked up and stressed out over everything. You kind of just got to trust the process, right? The universe will provide for you and take care of you. You just got to allow it.
You know, and that's why I was so interested in your work, because you really do look at the physical, like, and not just what we're eating, but the exercise and why it's important. And then you look after the nutrition, which is really the foundation for the brain, isn't it? I mean, like, poor nutrition is not going to give us a healthy brain. So you're looking after that, and then the spiritual aspects. Do you find that there's one that's stronger than the other, or are you able to just bring them and correlate them into one, in one pillar? That's what I see in you. That's what I saw in you when we spoke. So how are you doing that? Like, is there a routine that you stick with, or do you just take chances and?
We basically follow our signs and follow our guides. When you're grounded and you're eating good foods, you have a connection that's is like connecting to the internet. So when we connect to our Mother Earth, it kind of connects us to the Creator. So all the information, we're guided to where we go. Even medicines, most medicines we find, we're guided to it by our spirit guides. I mean, it's incredible. But in saying that, if we were to eat, say, McDonald's, which we don't, or so on and so forth, lose all connection. The connection it's severed. So it's actually mind-blowing. A few years ago, I moved to Alberta, and before I moved there, I was eating 100% organic food. I sold my business. I moved to Alberta. I basically was in a position that I basically had it so good, amazing. My mind went out of control. To the point where I was almost to the point where I was suicidal. I couldn't shut my mind off, random thoughts, all negative thoughts. There was no negativity in my life. It was just made up. It just appeared. When I came back home, I went back to organic food. It all left. My mind cleared again. It didn't wander. I was straight. And it happened one more time after that. So, we're sure that the food is actually dumbing us down and losing our connection with our spirituality.
It's such an important message. It's similar to what you were saying about antibiotics early. When we take antibiotics, we shut down consciously. And when we eat the wrong foods, we shut down consciously. We're just not consciously awake. Yep. I know some of us, excuse me, are not as, with choices that we've made, we don't have the farms, we don't have the ocean next to us where we can go pick up the adults. We don't have the land that we can plant our food. I know I was wishing Darpan had to join us today, but I think she has her own show, but she owns she's also a nutritionalist, and she introduced me to the Tower Garden. Now they're not cheap, but when you get them set up, they really are. It's all done on hydraulics, water, and you just have to make sure that the pH level in that water is balanced. And I'll send you a picture of mine later today of the one we have, because we just have a small little piece of property. But honestly, whenever I eat that lettuce or that radish, you can feel it alive in your body. And I know that we go to the stores and we're buying organic foods, but how alive is that by the time it is in the store? And not to take away from that, because we're lucky that we can do it, to get to the store, to the supermarket. So do you have any, like what else we can do in our own little tiny cubby holes that we can continually eat, think, and be alive? Because what I'm picking up today is that everything is alive in and around us. We just have to reach out synchronistically and take it and ingest it in. And not just the food, but what we hear, the body, what we do to help keep our body healthy. Do you have anything that you want to add to that?
Honestly, in our opinion, it really starts with grounding. And that's get outside and get your shoes off and get grounded to the earth.
Back to your roots.
Yeah, it helps wake you up. It gives you that starting from the ground up. So that's how we look at anybody who wants to change your life, body, mind, spirit. You can start from the ground up by literally grounding yourself. And then intuitively, more things come to you. So you're more conscious to follow your signs, to go out into the wilderness and just see what's out there. There's medicines. Everything around you is medicines. There's probably 2% that's not. It's all antiviral, antimicrobial,
antibacterial.
The trees, the grass, the flowers. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Yeah, it really is. So once you open those doors by grounding yourself, your own doors will open up and your inner self will guide you, we believe, to where you need to be.
And it's crazy, as a society, we're all moving so fast and in such a big rush. Like, we miss a lot of stuff that's right in front of us.
Yeah, that was the beauty of COVID, actually.
Yes.
It really allowed us to slow down, and we fought it, at least I did. It was like, no, I don't want to do this. But it really has allowed us to go deeper in and ground as best we can. I mean, I'm watching Janet now with her painting. I mean, they bought this beautiful place up in Calabogie, and grounding is really important to her. And and within her creativity, are we surprised that she was able to say to the doctor, screw you, I'm going to do this my way? Because that's what she did. She went home, she grounded herself, she picked up her paintbrush, and she said, I'm alive. And it's so important. So I'd like to leave it open now for anyone that has a question. If you just unmute yourself, because I'm sure we have some questions for Byron and Jasmine. Please do not be shy. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, Ash.
Hey.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I am definitely addicted to sugar, and I do not know how to get off of it. I don't know if I should go cold turkey. Should I be supplementing it? Should I just cut back? But I definitely have a huge addiction. It's to the point I'm hiding it now. It was, one cookie, and now I'm hiding it. So now I'm thinking it's out of control, and it's not good for my health. And I know that. I know all the benefits, but I don't know how to get off of it. It's inevitable.
What we normally recommend people, first of all, we're all addicted to sugar. We live in a society where it was put in babies' formula. It's put in almost everything. Studies show 7 times more addicted than cocaine. So first, good for you realizing that, you are addicted to sugar, as most of us are, and taking those steps to change it. So most of the sugars we're having is refined sugars from corn sugar, which is also genetically modified. So if you even look at changing the type of sugar you're having, so a lot of times you're craving sugar. Most people have candida, which is a yeast, and we have parasites. So these parasites will actually tap into your nervous system and actually send signals to your brain to tell you to have that sugar to feed them. It's kind of scary when you think about it. An organism could be in us. Actually, a lot of our thoughts are not our thoughts. They're being put there by other like parasites. So if you switch over, even slowly go from your refined sugars, have some fruit. Fast food, fruit is fast food. And when you look at fruit, organic, of course, if you can get it, your body doesn't get the insulin spike that it does from refined sugar. So it'll be better for stabilizing your blood sugar levels. Not that big spike will go up and you'll store fat and you'll crash after. So maybe not, I tell people, don't look at getting rid of sugar, just change the type of sugars you have.
Yeah, for me, instead of, I used to drink a triple from Tim Hortons or whatnot, and I switch from the refined sugar to honey. So, and if we have like a sugar craving at night, we might have a bit of Greek yogurt with some homemade jam, sugar-free homemade jam. And that's just enough to kind of satisfy that craving, and then you don't want the sugar anymore.
Micro steps is the key.
It's a process.
Yeah.
It's
And
a
micro
process.
steps, you know?
There's just something I'd like to add to that if I can too, Janet. John is like you. He's coming off the sugar totally. And what he's experiencing this week is a lot of nausea. So he's detoxing. And of course, then the mood swings. So I've made an appointment for him to see Bruce, because Bruce Bonner has been will help you with that if you're interested. Bruce gave me, and we talked a little bit about this the other day, Byron, about mushrooms. But these aren't psychedelic ones. I forget the name of it. Bruce will know. But what I'm finding is when I take that every morning, my cravings for sugar is gone. And that's huge for me, because I was full of fungus and candida because of my sugar addiction. I'm an addict. Hello, my name is Lilly and I'm an addict. That's a fact. Not, it's why I love my alcohol. It was full of sugar. When I came off of that, I thought I was dying. Then when I came off my other sugar, I'm like where John is now. I was angry and I was lethargic and nauseous. Bruce, can you add anything to that? Yeah, so that'll help, Janet.
So that you're taking a blend by Byron. It's a blend of 7 medicinal mushrooms, lion's mane, chaga, etc. I would assume you got access to some awesome chaga on the rock.
Yes,
we do.
Trees.
And Newfoundland has some of the most nutrient dense berries and anything.
Chaga, everything.
Yeah.
We have probably about 7 different bracket funguses that we have here, from red belted polypore to chaga. It's a turkey tail.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
so
amazing.
we're totally into the mushrooms, absolutely.
So the medicinal mushrooms for everyone is that goes back to ancient times, and cultures knew about it, and that some of them are more rare, and therefore, when you think of Asia is where a lot of these come from, although they're all over the place. Only the emperors, the queens, etc., were able to have it, and so they would send the peasants out, and get it. And there's, pick one, make the stuff, so they're medicinal. But now you can organically, you can wild forage for sure. And then some of the best companies, what they do is they organically grow it on, say, oak tree or something in a natural means, and then steam distill it so that everyone has access to all the amazing healing properties, and their whole food. And to Jasmine and Byron's point, there's like a consciousness of the mushroom, and many say that because it's not even a plant, it's its own life form. It's closer to human genetically than it is to, so many think it's alien, to be honest, and deposited here by wherever your spiritual beliefs go. And so there's amazing properties worldwide, and in Asia there's just reams of anti-cancer properties, and physicians treating people with extracts from these. So good for you, Lilly, for getting a good result.
Yes. So symbolically, when you think about what Byron was just saying and what you repeated, Bruce, if you could look at it symbolically in our body. So I'm taking, I'm taking this mushroom mix, and it's almost like it goes up to these little tiny nuggets go up to the brain and say, ha ha, you don't need sugar anymore because I'm in control. Right? Like, because that's what's happening.
Right.
That's what's taking
fungi outcompete other fungi. Byron had mentioned like candida or the type yeast. Bacteria, although the microbiome is very important, to have bacteria don't kill fungi, they crowd them out. But fungi are a higher life form and they kill bacteria. That's why we make penicillin and everything always from fungi and yeast and different organisms. So when you mentioned yogurt, Jasmine, anybody could have raw yogurt, and you're using microorganisms, you're always repopulating the gut. And so you're always crowding out the bad critters and bringing in new. And to Byron's point, you will affect your brain chemistry and basically pop open consciously when you're using those types of organisms to your benefit, for sure.
We also use kombucha.
That's where I was going next. So can you tell us, do you make your own? Do you make your own, and how do you do it?
I do make my own.
Girl who wants to know.
Now it's a fermented sweet tea with a lot of really good cultures and bacteria for your gut. It actually helps rebuild your microbiome. Great for your immune system, great for stabilizing blood sugars. I find when you make it at home, you can control that sourness because it is a bit sour, it's fermented. You can control that sourness with your natural fruits and stuff that you want to flavor it with. So actually we did a dandelion one because we want to try and put more medicines into it, right? So instead of just a blueberry or pineapple, like we did Japanese knotweed, which is elephant ears. We did that in a jelly and in a kombucha. And we did, the dandelion. It was out of this world.
Yeah, double medicines.
Yeah.
Did you put the recipe on your website or on your Facebook page yet?
For the kombucha, no, but I can. Yeah.
So how can you go take us through it? Is it too long of an ordeal to take us through how you actually do that?
Well, you need a culture. It's called a SCOBY. Now I made my own from an organic store-bought bottle. And I've had that one going for a little over a year. That's when I first started it. But it usually takes about 7 to 10 days to ferment. And then once that stage is done, you'll bottle it, add your fruit or your herbs for flavor with a little bit of sugar because the bacteria eats the sugar and turns it into a carbonation. So there you get your natural carbonation, and then you let that ferment for another 3 to 5 days, and then you can drink it.
Okay, I always stayed away from kombucha because yeast is my #1 allergy. And I always thought people were making it with yeast. But what I'm hearing is no, it's natural formation. I can't say the word, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's the SCOBY is almost, I believe it's similar to a mushroom.
Okay.
From what my research has brought me. It's a type of fungus.
Okay, I'll look forward to that recipe and I definitely will try it and let you know. Any other questions? Yes, Lynn.
Can I ask what sugar do you use to make the kombucha? Do you use honey? Can you use honey rather than using a sugar?
You can. You may not get the same result with your carbonation because the carbonation needs the sugar. And we use organic cane sugar.
Okay.
It's just it's still kind of sugar, but it's a better option. Right?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I gotta give a little plug for our bracket fungus. I have one right here. Okay. This is actually called Amadou. And the reason we're all here in North America because of this mushroom. A lot of people don't realize the background. Some people might have heard of the Iceman. They found him back in 2007, I believe, in the Himalayas. He was frozen for 10,000 years. He actually had a piece of this around his neck. And the reason that is beneficial for people coming to North America, because it allowed us to carry fire. So when we come from a warm climate to a colder climate, this is responsible for all of us being here. And he had 3 pieces around his neck, and they figured one was for a fire starter, and he also had parasites. So they figured he was also taking it for the parasites that was in his stomach. So just a little bit ode to the mushroom.
Yes.
And there's so many mushrooms that are multi-purpose, like the bracket fungi or the polypores. Like this one here, it's Amadou or horsehoof, or also called a fire starter, because it's great for starting fires.
Polysaccharides is and what it'll actually do, it'll actually adjust your immune system. So if you have an overactive immune system, it brings it down. If your immune system is down, it brings it up. It knows exactly what to do for everybody as an individual. It's just amazing.
So as Bruce said, it's almost alien, you know, again, because I look at everything symbolically. And when we think about the gods and how they came on and populated the humans and blah, 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 it's almost like, okay, let's give them something that they're going to find hidden in their inner wealth that's going to keep them alive and healthy. So they planted all these little fungi everywhere, and they're actually our neighbors and our friends that help keep us healthy. Wow.
We wouldn't be here without them. The mycelium network is a part of the planet. It's the connective between the whole planet and us.
Exactly. That what you just said is why I knew you and Bruce have a lot in common.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah. I hope you two can connect and
Oh, we will, absolutely.
yeah. Any other questions? This is such a anybody else?
I got a question for Byron.
Yes.
So with that mushroom, Byron, to consume it, would you like grate it and like put it in a salad, or like how are you using it? Like, are you just putting it in a tea, or?
There's different methods of extraction. Mostly we do a tea.
Okay.
You can also do an alcohol extraction, cold water, hot water. All the extractions helps you to get out different parts of it.
Different nutrients.
So a cold extraction, you won't get all the nutrients that you'll get from a hot extraction. So a lot of times we'll do 2 or 3 extractions on one polypore just to get the whole array of everything out of it.
Nice, thanks.
Dana, welcome.
Hey, it's Glenn, not Dana.
Oh, hi, Glenn.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Great.
I'm on my phone. I couldn't get it working on the computer.
You found us anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you guys got this done. This is awesome.
Awesome. That's my brother.
Oh, is that your brother?
I'm here this morning
Yes.
having my red polypore tea.
Oh,
Lily, he's the one that was friends with your brother, actually.
Oh, he knows that. You know Al.
I do, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fantastic. So we'll get, hopefully I'm going to be planning I've got the juices going now, and I just contacted somebody, Andrew, to see, because Andrew Harvey, who Janet knows, and I think Karen knows, when we were in Bali 2 years ago, he said, Lily, he said to Deanne Shepherd and I actually, Lily, get a spiritual journey plan for Newfoundland. I'll go. So I thought, yeah, okay, I'll sit on that. So I've been sitting on it. And one of the big issues was I almost have to go home a year before, get it all organized. And do I want to work that hard? I'm retired. I'm not refired up at that time. But after meeting Jamie and Byron, we're doing it. We're doing it July 22. And because that'll be our stop off point, like where we're going to go first. And then with their help in the next couple of months, we're going to go across the island and then back to them again. So stay tuned for that. Our spiritual.
We're pretty excited.
To Newfoundland. Yeah. Now that it's out there and I called it out, it's going.
Yeah, you got to do it now.
Well, now, and as many connections as I have at home, I mean, it's my home, but to go into the spiritual aspects of it, I needed a foundation, someone that I knew and I could trust. So you guys are it. So that's great. That's great. So Glenn, where do you live?
I'm in Alberta, Fort McMurray, Alberta.
Oh, you are in Fort McMurray, Alberta. We call it, when Mom and Dad lived there, we call them saltwater cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah. Another 2 years, hopefully, or a little less. We'll be back there. Actually, we just bought a house not too far from Byron, so we're very excited to get back.
Oh, that's fantastic. So right now on the call, we've got people right across Canada. That's really great, from one end to the other. There's somebody else here, Amar. I'm not sure who that is. If you want to introduce yourself to us, you're more than welcome. And if any of you have any more questions, please. Yes, Rondi. Hi, Amar.
Hi.
Nice to have you here, darling.
Yeah, I'm just supporting Jasmine and Byron. I've known them for a very long time, and I really look up to both of them, actually, because they're able to do something that most of us normies can't, right? They're absolutely correct. We're all addicted to fast food, and and the media and the economy just kind of pushes us in that direction too, right? And I would love to be able to have the same mindset as Byron does. One day I'll get there.
So,
I'll pick his brain enough. Right?
Yeah, where do you live?
Oh, I live in Stephenville.
Oh,
So I'm not too far from Jasmine and Byron.
Okay, I was born in the Crossing, but grew up in Stephenville on Ocean Drive.
Hey.
Actually,
Okay.
yeah, I grew up on Ocean Drive.
Yeah.
But So hopefully we'll meet you in the future. And, you know, I always say, in fact, that's what I've been saying to a lot of people today that are texting me saying, so sorry, I meant to be there, couldn't, blah, blah, blah. My thing is, if you're not here, the soul wasn't invited. The ego and the soul together is going to try to make it. But if you don't, who is here in this sacred space, their soul is invited. So Amar, when you say you want to get to where Byron is, I'm sure you're already there from a soul level, or we wouldn't be together. We're all soul companions. Holding
Yeah, I don't quite have his muscles, so I'll get there one day. So.
Hopefully we all will. Rhonda, you had a question, darling.
I do have a question about what do you do for inflammation of the body? For example, conditions like arthritis, and things that are not infections, but are just inflammation.
Great question.
Most times we'll recommend to people, well, first of all, sugar is definitely a cause of inflammation, but chaga is absolutely fantastic. We mix it with turmeric. So if you're looking for something that's going to act relatively fast, chaga with turmeric is absolutely amazing. And of course, just cutting back on the refined sugars.
And if you don't have access to some of these things, you can always buy them, right? Like if you can't go out and harvest it yourself, there's an option that you can find it online.
Yeah, even the turmeric is amazing if you just get that alone.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
I didn't realize that, how do you pronounce that mushroom? Chaga?
Yes.
Chaga.
It was good for inflammation. There's a friend that usually comes on here with, oh, that one, okay. That comes on, Darpan, and she has a product called Golden Root, and you'll see me a lot of times help promote it, because that for inflammation was incredible. And basically it's turmeric and pepper and lavender, and she makes it, she has it out of some lab now that makes it for her. But when I had my knee surgery in October and I went to go get my staples out, both the doctor and the nurse said it was in Newfoundland. I said, my there's the finest leg I ever saw. What? There was no swelling, and they couldn't believe it. The nurse kept saying, what have you done? I've never seen surgery 6 weeks with none of this swelling. And it was the Golden Root. So it really is, the turmeric is so important. But it has to be mixed with pepper, I think, right? To get the
correct. Yeah. And something else you mentioned, your pH too is very important kind of inflammation. So apple cider vinegar is probably the cheapest, quickest way to balance your pH.
So do we take that in water? Like how often a week? Because
you would dilute it, maybe a teaspoon in the morning. Dilute it in water before you eat, and maybe another one the night before you go to bed. I recommend people test their pH to make sure they don't overdo it either. It all comes down to balance. So get yourself a couple packs of pH strips, and apple cider vinegar will definitely bring you right in. And with inflammation, it can't exist when your body's in harmony, in balance.
And the pH strips are pretty user friendly and has a guide here to tell you what your pH would be according to the test paper, right?
Okay,
so you can use your urine or your spit.
Yep.
So what do you do? Like I know we test our pH on that garden tower we have all the time, right? In order for everything to be healthy. So I test my pH, my water, and I'm all out of whack. It's too low or it's too high. What do I do now?
Well, most people will be acidic. So if you're acidic, if you're to that point, apple cider vinegar just fixes it right up. It doesn't take long. Coffee is one of the worst things you actually have for acidity in your body. That's why we switched from coffee to dandelion tea.
So basically, pH level means acidity in the body.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's funny what we know, but we don't know. At least for me, anyway.
Yeah, it's funny. We'll test our gardens for our plants and everything, but we won't test ourselves, right?
Well, and you take your vehicle to the shop for maintenance, but you don't want to maintain your body, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny how we're programmed by society to think that way.
Yeah, you look at it more life as a proactive way of looking at things. You know, our healthcare system is not healthcare; it's actual sick care. You go proactive. Proactive is healthcare. That's how we look at it. Anyway, that's why I called my business Universal Healthcare, and we took a proactive approach to healthcare.
And it's not about masking your symptoms. It's about getting to the root and fixing it, right? We don't want people to have those ailments and for the rest of their lives, or be on a medication for the rest of their lives, because if your body's naturally in balance, you don't have ailments and you don't need those medications, right?
It's why I fell in love with you, because you're one of the few that works on the body, the mind, and the spirit. Because normally we have a tendency to put, okay, you know, I'm working on my spirituality, I'm taking all these courses, I'm learning, I'm living consciously, and then I don't do my daily walk, you know, or I'll stuff myself with sugar or something. But being able to put those pillars in place, and again, pay attention instead of pay attention, pray attention, because we know we're in prayer now, just having this conversation, because it wakes up something in us, you know, and that's what prayer does. It wakes us up. Yeah.
Power of thoughts.
Yeah.
That too. And like, a good thing for mental health. I know it's really hard, but when you catch yourself having a negative thought, try and replace it with something positive, or a couple positive things to get that negative thing out of your head. Because I mean, our natural instinct, we shouldn't have those negative thoughts, especially about ourselves, right? And we're our own worst critics. So that's kind of been passed along and programmed down through all the lines also, right?
Yeah. And, you know, doctors used to use astrology, right, in the 16th, 15th, 16th century. And that's why when I take you guys and girls through your chakras, the organs of our soul, is so important to have those balance and to understand. And that's why I teach know thyself, because we can have a critical thought and a negative thought, and I'll think, okay, Lily, get your act together, you know, get inspired. And then I'll look at my chart, but if moon's squaring my sun, shit happened. So that's my fate, right? That I'm fated for that day. So what am I going to do to change it, to change my destiny? And honestly, for this old gal, because I got all these tools, we all have been studying all of this for years now. And if nothing works, I call my friend Lynn and say, I feel like shit today. And she gives me permission to feel like crap. So, you know, but you do, and that's why the pillar, the companion, the soul companions is part of that pillar, the spiritual aspect. Because if we don't have soul companions, who do we have? Yeah. Lynn, you have a question, I think.
I was going to ask about the Saga Mushroom. I had read something about you have to be careful that you cannot take it every day for a lengthy period of time.
Well, it's like everything's in balance. So it's the same reason we don't take dandelion tea every day. We don't want our body relying on it either.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
I think that pretty much goes for everything, you know. So if we take chaga tea for 2 or 3 months, we'll take a month or a month and a half off, and we'll regain again. We actually do everything in cycles. Nothing is consistent all the time.
But you will take it fairly regularly for about 2 months.
Oh, absolutely. 2 or 3 months, absolutely no problem. Unless it was very much too strong, you know, no problems will occur from that.
And what about colloidal silver? You haven't mentioned that as far like as well to bring your pH level in balance.
We have it. There's so many, and we've taken it, and actually we've even given it to we have had sick animals, and animals extremely sick, and given them the colloidal silver, and I tell you what, it's amazing. But mostly we rely on our bracket fungus. Bracket fungus is like Amadou, is antiviral, antimicrobial. Even now, if you go to a doctor, they don't have anything that's both of that. So it kind of takes care of everything. Is kind of, a lot of these medicines is all in one. Everything you're looking for, it gives your body the ability to boost its immune system to do what it needs to do.
And become in balance again.
Yeah, the silver they were using, I think, during the First World War for bacteria and things is a really important component. So thank you, Lynn, for bringing that up. So we have 2 more questions. Ashley first, and then Karen. So Ashley, you'll unmute and ask your question.
Sure. Hi. It's nice to see everyone. I'm in Ontario right now, and I'm a teacher. So Jasmine and Byron, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm super excited I could pop in. I have a question related to some of the things you've been talking about. So I am very antibiotic, but I have some issues with my tonsils. So I guess my tonsils probably should have come out when I was a child. And so as a result, they often have irritation. And I'm wondering if you have any suggestions for what natural remedies I could try to sort of mitigate the bacteria in my mouth so that I can avoid taking an antibiotic. There's no infection right now, but I just realized that it's an area I'm prone to having issues with. So I wanted to seek your advice and see if you've got some suggestions.
A lot of times we'll use spruce tips and for ourselves. So we drink spruce tip water quite often. Yeah, and it's antibacterial, antiviral too. So I don't know if there's any spruce trees up around where you're too, but it's a pretty quick fix.
So can you get that at a healthcare store as well? Like if I went to a natural type store, would they sell that, or is this a homemade?
We make it ourselves. I really don't know, to be honest with you. It's a good question.
Could you tell me a little bit about how you would concoct it? Like, do you just get the tree and do you boil it, or like what do you do with it?
Yeah, well, right now this time of year, what happens with trees? They're actually they're starting to pollinate. So for the next 2 months, the spruce tip will probably come out 2 or 3 inches. This is the new growth for the year. So you only have about a month to actually get this.
And they're significantly lighter green than the rest of the tree. So you'll know which part to take.
I've seen those. Yes, I just didn't even realize that was anything in specific. So thank you.
Yeah.
Well, see how much we missed, right?
All around us. Yeah.
So do I boil? Do I boil that piece? Like, do I put that in water? Do I eat it? Do I grind it? Like, how would I?
It depends on how you want to take it. You can do it in a tea. We've done sun infusion. So we just take the spruce tips and pack them in our bottle of water and just let it sit in the sun for like 24. Well, the sun's obviously not out for 24 hours, but you let it sit in the sun and then you can drink it the next day.
It's amazing.
And it's beautiful. You can add a little bit of lemon and it's perfect.
Oh, thank you. I'm definitely going to give that a try.
And I can send you some pictures of the tips on the trees if you like.
That would be perfect. I've never even heard of this before. Something I've tried is like oil of oregano. So I've had that before. You were mentioning the Colloidal Silver. So I got that in a spray. So different things like that. I do like a saltwater gargle. So I knew bits and pieces, but I love tea. I make tea out of everything. So that sounds really nice. I'm going to give that a shot.
Oh, I'll just have to send you some tea recipes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, do that. I have a really nice little tea ball that I can put all my, natural stuffs in there. Sounds perfect.
Great.
Thank you, Ashley.
Question.
Yeah.
Ashley, where are you in Ontario?
I am in Waterloo.
Great.
So that's kind of where I was born and raised, but I did make a trip to Newfoundland twice in my life, and my gosh, like I'm so envious of the things that Jasmine and Byron are doing. I follow them just on Facebook and things, but totally cool, very much along the lines of what I'm interested in. I grow a lot of my own things. I grow my own echinacea, I grow my own vegetables. But I'm still learning. So for me, it's kind of like a passion project, but I've learned so much from them, and I'm really grateful that you held this session. So I'm really glad I was able to be here too.
And it's great that it's great that we're able to show people what we're learning as we're learning it, right? Because there's so many herbs and plants and medicines that it's going to take you forever to go through them all. So it's always something new and you're constantly being stimulated mentally, right? It's beautiful.
And a true teacher is a true student.
Yeah.
That's it. And
we're all kind of in it together.
Yeah. And Ashley, if you want, go to my Facebook page and I'll friend you, and then I'll add you, if you're interested, to the Breakfast with Soul group. And it's not that you got to get in. It's not a group. But what we do is we pray together when somebody is ill. There's one gal on there, she couldn't come in today, but she's going through chemo. So we're all inspiring and helping each other. And it's incredible, hasn't it been, Rondi and Lynn, the things that we learn and the people that we invite. And sometimes if we don't have a guest, we just get on here and natter, and you wouldn't believe the amount of information we find out from each other about our mind, body, spirit. So please just do that and come in. Amanda, the same as you, because the Breakfast with Soul group is a very holistic way of living. Karen, you have a question, lovely?
Yes, on the topic of foraging, and I rearranged my schedule so I could stay on because I'm so fascinated by the topic.
Good.
So we're like an hour west of Ottawa and on several hundred acres of mostly forested wilderness. And like there's so many mushrooms and fungi around that I notice, and just hearing about this is getting me excited about learning more about foraging for remedies and tonics and things like that. But what would be the best way to learn about that? Like we have a big book about different mushrooms and fungi and whatever to identify them, which is great. But in terms of the medicinal fungi and mushrooms that, you know, I know we have turkey tails and edible things like oyster mushrooms growing, because we've had people come and forage and share what they found with us, and chaga all over the place. So just, yeah, what would be the best source of learning about these and how to find them and identify them and prepare them? For those
Actually,
that have.
there's an app you could download for your phone, would be a good place to start.
It's called Mushroom This.
Wow.
And they also have one for plants and one for insects. The plant one is called Picture This, and the insect is Insect This. But they're great resources. And we kind of started, if we found something weird and we weren't sure what it was, especially when it came to mushrooms, we would take a piece, or we would take a sample home and just do whatever we had to do to research and figure out what that was, and we wouldn't stop until we found it. So then once you have identified it properly, then you can move on to find the benefits. And then once you have the benefits, you can move on to see how you can take it and use it for yourself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how we've been basing all of this.
Yeah, follow your gut.
Follow your
Hey,
gut.
if I could jump in for 1 second,
Yes.
a good way to get started is to get out, identify just one thing, one mushroom, one spruce tip, take it home, process it, make your tea, whatever you're going to do with it, and feel the benefits and expose yourself to it just once. Just get yourself
build a
started.
relationship with it.
Exactly. Yeah. Awesome.
Great. Thanks, Glenn.
Another thing I've been hearing about is like white pine needle tea. Is that something you guys use and do?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we've harvested that for some of our friends. We don't take a whole lot. We pretty much rely on the bracket fungus, but we've harvested pine needle tea for some of our friends, and we tried it too. It's antioxidants, vitamin C. It's another great medicine. Absolutely. So depending exactly what somebody's looking for, there's medicines out there
for everybody,
specifically for you.
Yeah.
So you had on your Facebook the pine, you had it in porridge and blueberries. Can you tell us what that was?
It's a male pine pollen cone. It's probably about that big, and it has all these little green balls on them that you can kind of take off. You can roast them in the oven or just eat them raw. It's like they're crispy and.
Oh, it's amazing. Antioxidants, there's vitamins, minerals. Wow. We don't need to go to a grocery store. We just need to educate ourselves, and it's all around us. And all the food is all medicines, all antibacterial, all antiviral. If you ate just from the land, you wouldn't be able to get sick. It would be pretty much impossible.
And like, you don't have to go big right away. Like, just change some little things. So for instance, like putting pine cones, just sprinkle that on your breakfast or whatever. You could get your chaga and you can grind that up and put it in your soup or your oatmeal or whatever you want to do. You could put dandelion petals in your pancakes. So it's just little things that kind of introduce you and your body and your microbiome to different organisms and bacteria that are beneficial for your health.
And when you're eating these things, we look at like we're planting a garden in our microbiome. So everything we go out there and eat that we haven't eaten before, that's going to add to our microbiome. That's superpowers. It really is physically, mentally, spiritually, superpowers. It's amazing.
And when you're eating, I mean, you shouldn't feel tired after you eat and want to go for a nap. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be fueling your body.
Yeah,
And burn. So you fuel your body, you burn it off, you fuel it again. So you don't need to take a nap, and you're not eating the right things if you're tired after you eat, or if you feel bloated or you don't feel well. You should just be more mindful of how you're feeling when you eat certain things.
Yes, that brain-gut connection.
Tell me about what I'm thinking about now. Of course, growing up in Newfoundland, we were raised on saltfish and scrunchions and moose. That was our
carnation milk.
And carnation milk, which won't go there. But so you talk a lot about the mushrooms and your vegetables and all that. So do you also eat meat? And if you do, are you just doing do you do your own hunting? Do you do your own fishing?
We do all of our hunting, fishing, gathering. We harvest moose meat, rabbits, grouse, partridge. We grow our own chickens. We have broiler chickens. We have layers for eggs. So we're pretty much self-sustained. So it's nice, because we don't work. We're both kind of retired, I guess you could say. But
refired.
we grow our own food. We cut our own wood for heat, so we don't really. It's not how much money you make; it's how much money you save.
Exactly.
That's how we look at it.
You don't need a lot of money if you don't have a lot of bills, right?
And it gives us the time to go out and to be again. Everything is provided for us. But, it's hard to make that transition from being in society and kind of into the rat race and making money to provide all these things to your door. But it is doable for people if that's what they desire in their heart.
And we are native, so when we do hunt or gather. Anything we take from the land, we'll make an offering of ceremonial tobacco, just to give thanks and appreciation for what our mother just gave us.
Yes, and that life, when we consume that life of that animal, we consume it in honor of it, and that animal is going to live through us. So that makes a lot of difference as far as the quality of what you're harvesting too.
That right there will change the energy of every time I eat. That animal, how did you just word that? That animal will live through us.
Yes.
Who in God's name ever thinks of it that way? I haven't. I bless it because it's brought to the table. But to bless it that it will live through me is brilliant.
Yeah, it's an honor. It's how we look at that.
And even our water. Byron blesses all of our water, even like our bath water, the water we drink, everything, right? And funny thing about water is water holds memory, and it has so much energy in it. So whatever you put into that water, you'll be putting into yourself.
Exactly. Lynn, I think you and I need to move Newfoundland, sweetheart.
Yes, I was thinking that.
I'm going
back. Get the spare room ready.
I want to live the way you are. Rhonda, you have another. I am choosing to live the way you are. You're really inspiration, Jasmine and Brian. Rhonda, you had another question.
Well, as I'm listening to all this, I'm feeling my vibrational level change.
Yeah.
And increase. So I was wondering, Byron and Jasmine, if some of the work that you're doing is connected to the vibrational levels that David Hawkins talks about.
Not familiar with David Hawkins.
Oh, my darling, stick around. I'll introduce you to him. He's my favorite. He wrote Power of Force. He wrote The Eye of the One. He wrote The Eye. He's the one that introduced us to kinesiology.
Okay.
Yeah, if you get a chance, read his book, The Power of Force. He passed away in 2012, but yeah. So good question.
My sense is that the work you're doing is really connected to vibrational levels. I've just been getting that sensation for the last half hour, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's got to be connected to vibrational levels, because what you're doing is you're increasing the level from, the lowest being anger to love. And when you bless your food, your water, it just brings your vibrational levels up, and of the food that you're blessing as well. So I was curious if there was any conscious creation with vibrational levels.
Oh, absolutely. the power of water, Dr. Komodo, I don't know if many people are familiar with him.
Yeah.
But, he done a study and wrote a book on the power of water and how we influence water. He wrote love on one bottle of water and basically hate on another one, and looked underneath the microscope and he froze it. And you look at the crystals, it's just amazing. So you realize that the power of thoughts can control water. Well, we're mostly all water. So what's the power of thoughts doing to us and our food and everything around us? So yeah, so we are aware of it. Thank you so much, Sharon. We're going to look at Mr. Hawkins. Absolutely.
No, I think you'd be interested in David Hawkins' work.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and thank you, Ronnie, for bringing that up, because I just did a quick what level this conversation's at, and is at 540. That's pretty high.
Woo-hoo!
That's pretty darn high. Yeah, and you know that those things don't lie. It's like our planets; they never lie. You know, so 540. Wow, that's pretty. That's why we're all feeling energized.
Exactly.
And I find your vibration really breaks down to your self-healing and your self-love for you.
Absolutely.
Because if you can't love yourself, you can't really truly love anybody or anything else. And we're all one, and we have to realize it is all love and light. And that's how we raise our vibration and raise the rest of the world's vibration, by working on us and healing our traumas and our ancestral traumas.
Yeah. I think we need to remember that we cannot love another more than we love ourselves.
Correct.
And that's a huge lesson for us to learn. Though we always say, oh, I love my children more than life itself, more than myself. You cannot. It just doesn't work on a vibrational level.
Yeah, and you bring up another good point, Rondi. I spent the weekend listening to Dr. Mate Gabor Mate, and he taught. There was a whole series on the wisdom of trauma, and because he doesn't believe that like alcoholism, drug addiction, etc., is a disease. He's like my friend Mario Martinez. They believe that if once we identify the trauma that's in the body, then, you know, I always teach people, you can't put anything, you can't, how do I word it? You can't put anything behind you unless you walk through it. So that's why soul companionship, in my opinion, is so important, because we need to honor what each and every person is going through. And some of it is, like you said, ancestral. We got to go back and heal it. And what you guys are doing, Jasmine and Brian, it's, you know, with the whole native tradition, it sounds to me like you're healing not just yourself, but you're healing. As soon as you say you put your foot in the ground, that's the beginning of the ancestors coming in. And then it helps us unravel what that trauma was, so we can then let it go and be free to be who we actually are.
Yeah, the cycle can stop with you. You can be that cycle breaker, right?
Oh God, Newfoundland, but they're so lucky to have you. What? Cirilla,
even on a genetic level, I don't know if many people have heard of epigenetics.
Yes.
But there's a gentleman, Bruce Lipton.
Yes.
He talks about epigenetics. So a lot of times too, we have to take responsibility for what we're doing in our life and what we created. So a lot of times our belief system is going to create our reality around us. So epigenetics probably be a good thing for a lot of people to have a little look into. Just a little bit of a game changer too.
Have you started a book yet?
Actually,
we were thinking about it.
Yeah. It's in the works for sure.
I'll send you your chart. I still have some things I have to finalize on it, and then we're going to send it off, because that for you is going to be your next thing. I mean, yeah.
We're excited.
Yeah,
so much. You got so much to offer to so many.
We're excited to share.
Yeah, we'll you get that going, because you know I'm going to bring you to that cliff and I'm going over till that book is done. Cirilla, do you have any questions? I noticed Cirilla.Taylor. I don't think I know you, and that's okay, but we're so happy that you're here with us today. Do you have any questions?
No, I'm just listening and enjoying the information that they're giving us.
Oh, we're so happy to have you join us today. Are there any other questions? Any other thoughts? Don't be shy.
Are they offering a little bed and breakfast that one can go there for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? And stay with?
We were thinking about that too, actually.
Not yet, but we are working on that actually. Yeah, yeah, a little retreat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're gonna have to come in 2022 when Lily comes.
Yeah, and because you got the Doom Lodge down there, right? And you've got, well, I said to John the other day, I was in my sulky way, and I want to go home to Mom and Dad used to take us camping. It used to be one big drunk, but anyway, we always enjoyed it. Just down by Noah's Pond there, there's a place. What do they call that? And
Gull
Gull Pond area. There's all kinds of cottages that we could rent out and do workshops there.
Yeah, Pirates Haven also was in Robinson's, about an hour away. Our friends own that. It's a beautiful little resort. They have chalets, you have camping, camping sites, showers, full facility, do ATV tours right next to the ocean. So yeah, we'll get that all worked. There's all kinds of places.
We'll get something organized for next July, and it's time. You know, I've been taking people to Bali since 2004. And now it's time. And Andrew Harvey was absolutely correct. If you don't know Andrew, I suggest you Google him. He's a gem. He'll love you, and you'll love him. And yeah, it's time to go home now. It's time home with this work.
Nice. Well, like I told you yesterday, how they say, how do you tell a Newfoundlander in heaven? They're the only ones that want to go home. So
My parents married in Newfoundland.
What's that, Lynn?
My parents met and married in Newfoundland.
Oh, really?
During the war, and then, you know,
oh wow, you have to
Awesome.
come here then.
Yeah.
So I do have roots there. That's where, you know, that's where I started, right?
Interesting.
Wow.
Now, is she from Newfoundland? She's a friend of yours. You've had some great help today, which is a lot of people came in to join you. So that's wonderful because we get to meet them also. So Cirilla is in Newfoundland also?
Yes, that's our wonderful friend Amer's partner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amr is also in the meeting.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Okay,
I got lucky. I moved to Newfoundland for this. So.
Oh, wow. Next time you go down to Ocean Drive area or where John likes to run, you know that place where you go down by where oh, my head's gone blank. You go down, what's that? In Harmon area.
Port Harmon.
Port Harmon. When next time you do your run, put me on your back. Put me on your back. I'll be there. I'll be there.
I got the ratchet straps ready.
Okay. Well, look, I'm going to be anxious to meet you guys in person. And I cannot thank you enough for joining us today. You have raised our vibrations consciously to a level that I'm going to be high all day. I hope we all will
quite a bit.
And and I really want to check out all the mushrooms, not just the ones that Bruce has recommended for me, because I see already the benefits of coming off the sugar, but all the other little nuggets that you shared with us today. And again, if you don't mind, if you have a problem with this going online, text me individually, and if not, then it's out there, because this is too important not to share with others.
Awesome.
That's great. Great news. We're all up for that.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we're very honored, Lily. Thank you so much for finding us.
Oh, well, again, that was spirit, you know, and I felt very honored yesterday when you mentioned that you've had other opportunities to go on different things, but this was the one that you chose because it pulls in the three pillars.
Right.
Important to us. So
everything else is always missing that one thing, whether it's body, mind, or soul, right? It's always missing one.
Yeah, well, we're going, and then we help each other try to find that, you know, that's what we're here for. I love what my mentor years ago said when I said, well, I don't deserve this. She said, honey, you don't deserve anything. It's how do you best serve?
Yeah.
You know, so we're all serving each other from the time we get up in the morning to the time we go to bed at night. And I love what Rondi said. I mean, we have to go inward and look at ourselves first, but we can't serve without conditions unless we do what Rondi suggested and learn to really dig deeper inside ourselves and love who we are, all of it, love all of it within us, even the bad, the good, the ugly, whatever. And then
if you haven't looked at your shadow, you must.
Yeah.
In order to love yourself.
Yeah.
Learn to love your shadow.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about shadow work. Shadow work is very important because it allows you to look inside yourself and kind of take responsibility for all those things that you might have done that you may, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that, but I mean, everything happens for a reason, and that's what got you to where you are right now. So it's just kind of accepting those, I don't even like to call it negative traits. It's just try and stay away from the duality thing.
Yeah.
But just
Judgment.
just accepting you for you and all of your everything.
Exactly. They're patterns of behavior that we came into this lifetime with that help us maneuver into the light of who we are, but we can't see that light until we go down that dark path of shadow work. That's why I do the shadow work with people. And I'm going to be so happy to take you on that journey, because instead of shadow, they're patterns of behavior. They're not defects of character. You know, in my AA program, they use character defects. I'm like, Christ, they're not character defects. For me, they were survival skills.
Yeah.
Until I learned more about myself. And now I'm still in my shadow. I mean, my God, let's stick around here at this house for a day. You'll see, oh, there she is again. On another tantrum.
It's the shadow that helps to forgive yourself.
Yes, that's it, darling. That's it. So we'll bid you adieu for now. I will be contacting you so I can take you on that journey of the sacred contracts, Jamie and Brian. I can't wait, and send you some more information on it. And if anybody here is new to this and you're interested, let me know, and we'll work together. And then if anyone wants to join the Breakfast with Soul, it's not a guru group. Nobody teaches anybody. I'm a facilitator that leads you home, and I help lead you. We all lead each other home, all of us. There's no hierarchy. It's just equal footing on who we are as human beings, but mostly spiritual beings.
And thank you for everybody. What a beautiful crowd we had today.
Thanks everybody.
We're super blessed.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Love and light.
Love and light. Namaste. Om Shanti Shanti Om.
I told Byron I wasn't going to cry this morning, but I feel it coming.
That's okay, baby girl. You cry all you want. That's a good thing. That's a good.
It's the release. Let it out.
That's right. Yeah, it's a good cry. It's tears of joy of meeting new soul companions. Think of it this way: your soul comes into the planet, and you pick all the bullshit that's out there, so that helps you develop as a human being. And we all made a sacred contract somewhere out there in Neverland, and said on such and such a date we're going to meet each other. That's where the tears come from. It's like, oh, finally, I'm home.
Yeah.
Soul family.
Yeah. Like I met Rondi in 98, I think, Rondi, 96, 98. And then I met Lynn in 2000. Like and Susan, like we're fated. We're fated to meet. And then what we do with it after is entirely up to us. Mm-hmm. So let's just take a nice deep breath. Go back into the organs of the soul for a minute. Just allow that vibration to have you. Let the spirit of this moment have each and every one of us as we go forth within our day. And we'll just go through with one word from everybody. And as you say your word, knowing that it enters each and every one of us. So we take all of that goodness with us today. So Susan, honey, what would be your word for today?
Enlightened.
Enlightened. Rondi?
Empowerment.
Taking all that in. Kelly?
Amazing.
Thank you, darling.
Yes, absolutely.
Amanda?
Joy.
Joy. Amr?
Empowered.
Yes. Lynn?
Harmony.
Harmony. Glenn?
Love.
Yes. And Cirilla?
All of the above.
Good. And Jane, Byron?
Light.
Light. Jasmine?
Appreciation.
So, and I offer you hope for today that we take all of this, put it in our hearts, and live authentically. So let's bring all that together in our sacred circle. Amen.
Thank you so much.
So hope to see you all the 15th of July, wherever we are.
My birthday.
And for those of you who
happy early birthday.
Oh, man. It's
yes,
birthday.
Whose birthday? Lynn's birthday is tomorrow. Can we sing happy birthday? And who else has a birthday? No? Okay.
Are you sure you want us to sing?
I can't sing. Let's try. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
dear.
Lynn.
Happy birthday
to
to
you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love it. I love it. Okay, everybody, I'll see you online. Cirilla, we hope to see you again. Amar, Glenn, it was great getting to know you. Kelly.
A great adventure it was.
It was a great adventure. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to close up now. Love you all.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.